high street apartments are up in High Street, Thornbury. It's a corner that's well situated for access to northern sun and the views of the city to the south. Thornbury is actually on quite a high piece of land in Melbourne, so the views back to the city are panoramic. You see the whole city, you see the Westgate Bridge, and to the north you will see up towards the Whittlesea Hills. It's been a project that's been 8 or 9 years in the making. We looked at the site a couple of times for the client. Eventually we settled on doing a 5-storey building that's got retail on the ground level and 4 levels of apartments. There's 13 apartments in the project, and there's a shared terrace on the very top, allowing the residents to connect with each other while using the shared facilities. We were keen to produce a really environmentally sustainable building that explored ways of reducing the carbon footprint for a multi-storey building. There was a discussion about how to build it early on. Those early design construction system decisions are the most important decisions an architect can make when it comes to sustainability. The question of engineered timber came up. When you're in a multi-storey building, there's the complexity of how you build a multi-storey building, and then to build it in timber and create a carbon sink adds a production complexity to it. Doing a timber building can mean different things. Traditionally we use stick framing, so you're still using a sustainably forested timber resource, but you're just doing timber stud walls like a normal house. With CLT, you laminate small bits of timber together, one layer going one way, the next layer going across, and the third layer going the other way again, so that you get a composite panel of solid timber that actually has a whole lot of structural ability. So either as a wall it can hold up a roof, or as a floor it can span 6 to 8 metres quite comfortably, depending on the thickness. The system that eventually got developed saw a great reduction in the building's carbon footprint, but as well there's increased thermal performance. So the apartments have received an average star rating of 8.2. Also, manufacturing process means that they waste as little of the mass timber as they can. We also realised fairly early on that an engineered timber building is actually a prefabricated building. We were keen not to be sucked into the prefabrication idea of just being repetitive. So every apartment has a different plan. Prefabrication is to do with how you produce the building, not mass producing the same thing, which is attractive to us as architects. It's just a different way of building a building. It was really fascinating to see the experts actually put the building up, because you're cutting panels on a CNC machine up in Albury to within a millimetre or so off a digital model, and those panels come down. There was like 20 truckloads of panels came down, but each panel had to be ordered so that when it came off the crane, the first one on top went to the back of the building, and then the next one followed, so that you weren't double handling 6, 7, 8 metre lengths of CLT panels. So the actual logistics and the manufacturing process was fascinating to watch, really. In a way, it's like making a car, I suppose. It's a manufactured thing where one bit has to go in first and then the next bit follows. Doing it on a building site with cranes and skilled operators was really impressive, I thought. They're up at level 4 now, so that's all happened over maybe 6 or 7 weeks, so the levels have gone up very quickly.
So this is one of the CLT cross-laminated timber panel walls that are the structure for this apartment building. And the important thing to note is that this is really the structural component of the wall. It's not actually what will be the finished material. So we chose CLT because it has all sorts of advantages in terms of production, environmental credentials, thermal performance, etc. But it's not the finished material, it's really just a way of building.
I think the other interesting architectural aspect is just about the finishes. It's okay to build in mass timber and not to expose it. It's about building better. We advocate for a new way of building that sees a reduction in carbon emissions, the use of reusable materials, and a move towards healthier buildings. We hope the increasing use of mass timber and prefabricated systems within Australia is an ode to a long overdue construction revolution.